Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I have a very special video for you all. I have exclusive footage from the official Asia qualifier from Taiwan for the Pokemon Go Championship circuit, which means that the top 2 trainers from this tournament qualify for World Championships, and these battles were not live streamed, they were not broadcasted anywhere. So my friends over at DracoViz, specifically Anacore and Palmer's Up, were able to get me the footage, get me the data for the teams, the brackets, and everything to shoutcast these battles for you all. I haven't seen these battles myself yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they played out. My understanding is that for this format, they had trainers play in a Swiss format tournament, and the top 16 trainers from that Swiss format moved on to a double elimination bracket. So today I will be showcasing the winners finals, the losers finals, and the grand finals of that top 16 bracket. All the battles are best of 3. 2 other interesting parts of this tournament. For the first part, where it's Swiss style tournament, trainers are able to change their teams between the Swiss and the top 16 round. The top 16 part of the tournament took place at a later date, so they had time to adjust their teams or run the same team if they felt comfortable with it. The trainers are also able to see each other's move sets for all the Pokemon used on the roster too, so that is definitely something that's a little different than the typical tournaments. But because this is an online tournament, you want to make sure that your opponents are running the moveset they registered initially. So that's the general format for this tournament. Let's get into some of the battles. Before we get into the battles, a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access to my strategies and lineups, or see behind the scenes footage of my battles, feel free to sign up in the Patreon link down below. Looking at the bracket before we get into the winners finals, we are looking at Yodada and grade number 1 in that first pairing, and then we have Gamebird waiting in the losers finals for their next opponent out of these 2 trainers. Taking a look at the teams here, they look fairly meta for the most part, but we have a Shadow Abomasnow on Yodada's side, and on grade number 1, there is no grass type, but you do have the bulky Lickitung with Power Whip, so a little grass coverage there, and you have Toxapex, one of my favorite Pokemon. And personally, I think it's very solid in this meta, despite the fact that there's a lot of steel types and a lot of Lantern, but the bulk you have on it is very, very strong. And clearly, grade number 1, making it all the way to top 3 here, has proven that Toxapex has play in the meta still. But let's see if grade number 1 puts it to the test as we go into the first set of battles. Like I said, this is a remote tournament, so of course the format of the videos are based on their specific phones. That's why the format might look a little different, but I did try to sync them up as best as I could here. And here we go. We have the Noctowl into a Medicham matchup here, and Medicham typically is going to win charge from priority here. Of course, some more attack weighted Noctowls are able to go for that CMP. It looks like Yodada is not even going to try to, is going to overfarm, maybe expecting that they're not going to win that charge from priority. And we see it's actually a Dapper Noctowl too, one of my favorites. The costume I use in my regional as well. And we see our early shield from grade number 1 here. The thing is, Medicham could potentially win this matchup. Oh, and here comes the Sableye here, trying to catch a Sky Attack. Yeah, so this is tough, right? Because grade number 1 didn't really have a lot of great options into the Noctowl lead. Has kind of ABA weak to it. You do see the Toxapex in the back here though, which is kind of nice. And then you see the second Sky Attack go through here. It's going to connect on here. Let's see if the Sableye is able to hang on and get this foul play off just barely. Let's see, and the foul play does come through here. And we're going to see if Yodada is going to spend this first shield or not, and is choosing not to. Okay, so opting to not shield, getting a lot of value there, getting a shield, taking out almost a Sableye, and chunking the Medicham quite a bit. Medicham does have energy though, and this is going to be interesting because that Sableye looks super strong for Yodada's side. Fortunately, I don't think grade number 1 knows that yet, and this is going to be very pivotal here because now you get the Sableye against the Medicham, which is exactly what Yodada wants. And the benefit here is Yodada has seen all 3 of grade number 1's Pokemon, whereas grade number 1 has only seen 2. So thinking, okay, you know, maybe let's tank some damage and see what happens here. But now here comes the Brine, and Yodada is in a pretty commanding position because Brine's not going to be super threatening, and neither is Ice Punch, and you're resisting the fast moves on both these Pokemon as well, which is a huge bonus. And I really like this play from Yodada because that foul play is actually not enough to knock out this Toxapex, so you might as well not throw your energy farm up a little bit more and see what happens. Put this Medicham in a very uncomfortable position, getting all the way to almost 100 energy here, and it's going to throw right now. And the problem is you can't shield if you're grade number 1 because you're just going to get hit by back-to-back foul plays. Even if you had to move there, you're going to lose charge from priority, right? So yeah, this is looking like kind of a wrap for the most part. Let's see how grade number 1 adjusts. It's going to start on the shield. The problem is, like, you need at least 2 Ice Punch to take out the Sableye, and I believe there's still a shield remaining. Yeah, there's still a shield remaining. So unfortunately, this is looking very tough here. Going to attempt to throw 1 Ice Punch here and see what happens. But I expect probably a shield will come up, or maybe not even a shield. Yeah, no, the shield is going to come up here. That's fine. And look at the health on Lantern in the back. Yeah, this is definitely over. So Yodada with a early 1-0 advantage there too. I mean, you know, kind of had the lead throughout the whole way. Knocked out positive matchup into Medicham, and then obviously beats the Sableye as well there too. Just not really having checks for that Sableye either. Maybe grade number 1 thinking the Sableye would not come out because you have 2 hard checks of Lickitung and Noctowl, but Yodada has no fear, and here it comes again. Another Sableye into on both sides here. Neither were in the lead last time around. But you see Yodada actually going for the foul play here right away. Grade number 1 doesn't throw, so it's unclear who is going to win charge from priority here. Maybe Yodada feels confident that they're going to win charge from priority. Hard to say. But actually coming in with the Lantern here. I like this play. Lantern overall is fairly safe. I mean, yeah, you have the Power Whip on the Lickitung side, but even then, you still have to build up to the energy, right? So you can still do quite a bit of damage with Lantern. And yeah, Water Gun, Lantern, worse into Toxapex, but much better into that Galarian Stunfisk. So you see actually the counter swap is going to be Medicham into it. And no shielding the Psychic actually. Okay, I like that play because you have the Sableye, and again, you can get so much energy off of that in that Sableye matchup here. And we actually get a shield from grade number 1. That's interesting. I'm not sure if the Thunderbolt would be enough. But this puts grade number 1 in a really tough position because, yes, you have a little bit of farm here, but like these Ice Punches are just not going to do enough to the Sableye. Let's see what happens here, though. Ice Punch is going to start coming through here, and I think the Sableye is going to go for aggressive Shadow Claw down to get as much energy as possible here against this Medicham. Medicham is going to get to 1 more Ice Punch. But again, I don't think this is enough to knock out the Sableye anyway, and I wouldn't be surprised if Yodada just decides to not shield. Yeah, does not shield, knows that you can tank the move. Just barely, though, I will say that. You do have the foul play ready, is going to just throw it, and going to throw it right away at the Galarian Stunfisk, getting the damage off, which is going to be pretty valuable. Neutral, fairly hard hitting, and here comes the Galarian Stunfisk. So it's going to be a mirror matchup, but the problem is, you already took damage from the foul play, which means that Earthquake is enough to one-shot at this point. You still have the Sableye for a sack swap, and you have to just bait perfectly here to have any chance. And Yodada is... What a savage! Does not even shield. 2 shields up. Yeah, I don't know if that play was even necessary with the shield advantage. But yeah, it definitely is going to just lock in the deal. I think grade number 1 knows this, right? Like, the only way you could win here at this point is... Well, actually... had a decent amount of energy on the Sableye, not gonna lie, but I think with that much energy and still a shield advantage, it's gonna be a very uphill battle. Foul play just isn't enough to take this out too. But yeah, Yodada is going to go for a Rock Slide here. I just can't see a way where there's a win condition. Even if you land a foul play, you still have another shield on Yodada's side, so you can't land both foul plays. And Yodada is going to get this Rock Slide. So, okay. Toxapex, unfortunately, didn't do what I was hoping it would do. CMP, though, on the Sableye, keeping it actually quite close here. Well, I guess not really that close because you still need to get no charge room. But I guess if the shield was down, that'd be a different story. But yeah, that's wild. 2 shields up, and you don't even shield the potential Earthquake there. Yeah, that would have definitely swung the matchup completely. But Yodada, ice in their veins. All right. So, is going to be a 2-0 there, and Yodada, as you can see here, is going to move on to the grand finals, and now grade number 1 will be going against Gamebird, a TW. And looking at the teams here, so obviously we saw grade number 1's team from earlier, Toxapex being the most unique pick there, as well as Lickitung to a degree. We actually have a Shadow Nidoqueen, so this is going to be super interesting on Gamebird's side. We're going to have to see how that plays out. The rest of the team is pretty standard, pretty meta, but Shadow Nidoqueen in general is just not as good as it used to be, but... hey, Gamebird might try to say, you know what, they got Toxic Specs, I got another poison type. And I'm trying to prove them wrong here. I like this play by Gamebird. Oh, it's also a Spark Lantern too, so that makes a big difference. So I do like Great Numbers team in the sense that you have the Toxic Specs that's better into the Water Gun Lantern. You have the Glitter Stuff that's better into the Spark Lantern. So you definitely have options here. And here comes another... or here comes the Thunderbolts here, and there's just no flipping this matchup, right? Everyone's been in this matchup so many times. Going to get another Shadow Ball off here, but at this point, you just don't need a shield. And you can hopefully Spark down here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's going to get the Spark down. And then, yeah, Sableye and Toxapex here. I assume you probably just come in probably the Sableye. Yeah, because you need... Oh, actually, no. Coming in with Toxapex. Interesting. Okay, so is actually going to bait with a Surf, but Great Number One actually calls it and does not choose to shield there. Pretty gutsy there. But is going to get another Surf off. I think a Great Number One is counting here, knows that this is just another Surf and not a Thunderbolts. So, oh, no, actually does shields. So a little unfortunate there because probably could have been at least on even shields here. This Toxapex definitely needs to put in some work. I mean, the thing is, like, Medicham has nowhere to go, but against a Toxapex, it's not terrible if you can land the Psychic. And we see actually a bait come out here, and it is going to get a shield. That's huge. Brine is still a fairly expensive move, so but it is still much cheaper than Sludge Wave. And actually, this is a Power Punch Psychic Medicham, and obviously the Psychic's going to be pretty strong here. I mean, Medicham actually wins a one shield scenario, so it definitely has still quite a bit of play, and unfortunately is able to land the Psychic. And yeah, at this point, not going to shield, but I just don't know how you muscle through this Noctowl. So let's see what Great Number One does here, and then they simul swap here, but again, this Noctowl just has so much energy here, and it was really because earlier Gamebird decided to overfarm before swapping out to Lantern, which I like to play a lot because Lantern just still hard walls the Noctowl even if they have an MG lead. Alright, and then yeah, this is looking kind of tough. Even though Great Number One has a lot of energy here, the Shadow Calls are just not doing any damage at all. I mean, double resisted. It's, I think if you do the calculation, I think it's like 1 or 2 damage max. And Noctowl is pretty bulky here, so yeah, you're gonna see the foul plays come through, but the problem is just no fast move pressure means that, like, even if you're laying charge moves, like, you can't fast move it down in most situations. Yeah, so final Sky Attack is going to come through here, and I think the Sky, well, just the Wing Attacks probably will finish off the Toxic Specs. And yeah, even though it's bulky, it just cannot really throw enough charge moves at this point. I think it would have been a little bit better if Great Number One had that second shield still and didn't shield the second Surf, but it still was kind of a tough battle. Because as long as Gamebird had alignment there, it was just going to be hard either way. All right, one of the most uncomfortable mirror matchups, but, you know, we've seen these many times, so let's see how it plays out here. And it looks like both are going for moves here. Gamebird is going to go for the Earthquake right away, and Great Number One is going to shield, so that's a pretty big shield. Shielding that Earthquake. We don't know which Glaring Stuff is going to win charge and priority here. See, Great Number One almost pretty much at 100 energy here is going to throw the Earthquake, and we get a shield in return from Gamebird. So still anyone's game in this mirror matchup. Let's see what happens here. And both getting to the Earthquake same time, and it looks like it's, yeah, it's Gamebird's Glaring Stunfisk that win charge and priority. This is actually really big here. Yeah, because all shields expended on Great Number One side, and then we see Gamebird here. It's kind of tricky because if you're getting baited here, you don't really want to shield this, but a huge call and decides to shield the Earthquake. So now both have spent the Earthquake. I think you have to go for a catch here for Great Number One because you're not going to win the charge priority here. And actually, whoa, okay, that's massive. Okay, so let's get this. Gamebird wins charge and priority, but chooses not to shield, chooses not to throw the move, saves it, and then catches an Earthquake on the Noctowl. Absolutely wild. I didn't expect Great Number One to even stay in that matchup because I would expect that you're going to just get taken out from the Earthquake, but maybe Gamebird expected that? I don't know. It was weird. Either way, Right, so the Toxapex is now back here, and Toxapex can get some value, but the problem is the Game Bird Galarian Stunfisk still has energy loaded, and you have a Lantern in the back. I think avoiding that Galarian Stunfisk with Lantern is definitely crucial here for Game Bird. But Sableye is still fairly strong and at full health here, and being able to avoid this knockdown matchup is huge. Let's see if... Okay, actually going for the complete farm down here, and here comes a Shadow Ball. I don't hate this play because I think you hang on here anyway, and you might lose charge from priority against the Galarian Stunfisk either way, so you might as well just leave this as low as possible. Oh, going for the combo play here though. I love this play from Game Bird. The combo play here is going to expend all that energy. I mean, I don't think Brine was enough to knock out anyway, and you're probably going to lose charge from priority there. But still, just sniping away all that energy. And now here's the race again, but the charge from priority is going to go to Game Bird, as we saw earlier here. Great number one, not even throwing the Earthquake there. Maybe just knowing that they weren't going to win charge priority. I don't know. Okay, yeah, so this is kind of tricky here because Galarian Stunfisk is also going to get to this Rock Slide. This chip damage is going to be huge here. I mean, Sableye is strong, but like it's not a hard counter to Lantern by any means. And with all this chip damage, it's going to be a little rough. I mean, yeah, you're going to have some energy, but you still have to expend some of it to get rid of this Galarian Stunfisk, right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe the play is to Shadow Claw down, but the problem is Gray number one doesn't even know what Game Bird's other Pokemon is. I guess worst case scenario, it is a Lantern because you have positive match against the Trevenant, the Medicham, and the Nidoqueen, but unfortunately, it is going to be that Lantern here. And you see Lantern is just going to just build up to the Thunderbolts, and yeah, I mean, even to a foul play and a return might do this, but I just don't think Gray number one has enough time to get to that return here. And yeah, you can see the Thunderbolt is going to reach from Game Bird here, and I think this pretty much wraps up the losers finals here. I can't really see a way for Gray number one to come back from this, and yeah, that is going to knock out. So great game from Game Bird there to fight through the losers bracket and now earning a spot in the grand finals. Yodada versus Game Bird in this grand finals here. Looking at both teams, we've seen both of them before. We didn't see the Shadow Nidoqueen yet. We didn't see the Shadow Abomasnow yet either. We've really just seen the pretty meta picks, but I think that would make sense depending on team composition. But let's get into this grand finals here, and because these are our top two trainers, both have won their ticket to World Championships in Yokohama, Japan this year. So congratulations to both of them. But getting that, I think there might be a travel award. I'm actually not sure for this specific tournament what the prize pooling is for it, but either way, being the champion of the qualifier is very nice too, right? Yodada, you can see W next to their name just because they are on the winner side of this grand final. So Game Bird will have to win in a best of 3 to reset the bracket, and then win in a best of 3 again to take that top spot. All right, here comes the Shadow Nidoqueen though, and Shadow Nidoqueen is coming in here. Honestly, it actually looks really good into Yodada's backline, and we got a Medicham, and you got a yeah, Shadow Abomasnow. Abomasnow might be okay here. I don't know. We'll see. Zero effective damage on both sides, but these poison jabs are adding up, and with the Poison Fang coming through, these poison jabs are really going to add up. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I mean, you get some value here because you saw that. Oh yeah, right. I forgot. Of course, the defense shop. It's always guaranteed. It's been so long since I've seen Nidoqueen at play. I completely forgot about its mechanics here. You are debuffed here. Let's even come in with a Medicham. Obviously, you don't want to come in knocked out into this. Medicham is going to come through here, but you get that energy ball off here, which is absolutely huge. Let's see if Game Bird actually decides to shield or not. It is going to shield the hard-hitting energy ball. I like that call. You get a lot of value here. Oh, and again, this is no Ice Punch. Yeah, it's Power Punch and Psychic Medicham. I don't know if we saw the moveset on Yodada's Medicham yet. But let's see what they decide to come in with. They're going to come in with their own Medicham. But this is a little tricky because Game Bird's Medicham is ahead on energy, so you're going to outpace to the Psychic. You're going to have to bait with Ice Punches here, but the problem with this matchup is a lot of trainers don't shield that Psychic, so baiting in it is kind of a tough situation a lot of times. Yodada is going to go straight for that Psychic, and Game Bird is not going to shield there. I think just leaving everything on the back of the Noctowl, potential Noctowl mirror, but I believe Game Bird's Noctowl has more energy because they were able to catch some of that energy on Nidoqueen earlier. Yeah, this is tough here too because there's shields on each side, and you kind of have to let it go on Yodada's side because you're just going to get outpaced, right? But the problem is these wing attacks are really adding up here. And I think the play from Yodada is maybe just counter down, come out with enough energy, grab a shield, and then land a psychic. But I just don't know if Yodada can get enough energy off of this Noctowl. Plus, the wing attacks are starting to do a lot of damage here. But here we go. All right, so let's see if Yodada can set themselves up here. It's going to get to... No, going straight for the psychic. I like it. I don't think the Ice Punch would have been... The Ice Punch and then go for a psychic after there would be even enough time for it. I guess a real... yeah, it just wanted to be enough time. So I like that play. And we get info here, even though Yodada lost in this matchup. They at least now know they win charge and priority. Yeah, because you weren't going to be able to get to the Ice Punch anyway. So I like that play because, you know, the only chance you have there is maybe Game Bird doesn't shield the first move, expecting it to be a bait. But like I said, still getting some value there, knowing that their meta champ is going to win charge and priority. All right, and here we go. Say Swap Shadow Nidoqueen. Man, this feels like a blast from the past. But it's not terrible into this specific matchup. I mean, Nidoqueen, you have some play into Galarian Stunfisk, but you have a lot of play into a lot of the rest of the Pokemon outside Sableye. But unfortunately, Sableye is going to bait with the Poison Jab though, which is Poison Fang, which is nice. But again, Poison Fang is now more entry than it used to be, so it's a little bit hard to pull off the bait combos as easily because you just don't get to the Earth Power afterward as much. As quickly. Yodada is going to throw this foul play. I like it because avoid potentially having to shield again, a potential Earth Power. And now this Noctowl is actually in a pretty good spot here. I mean, here's the thing. Noctowl is not great into Bombstow, but if you come away with energy, you're not in a really bad spot here. And I like this. So Yodada actually going for the return on charge and priority. Game Bird, knowing that they're not going to win charge and priority, is going to farm. But I think the better play here from Game Bird is also the fact that they just want to come away with 2 Sky Attacks, right? That way you get an energy. That way you get a guaranteed shield from the Abomasnow at least. And also there's a Medicham in the back. Game Bird doesn't know that yet, but that definitely is going. That energy on this is going to be quite nice. Oh, actually going for the spam swap here. Okay, not trying to get the last shield with the Sky Attack here. This is not a bad play either. Oh, this is kind of interesting. So you're behind a counter of worth of energy on Yodada's side, but you have Ice Punch, whereas Game Bird only has Power Punch. So theoretically, you have a leg up in this matchup as long as you don't get debuffed, and even if they shield the Psychic, right? So yeah, this is going to be interesting. And you see Yodada charging up quite a bit of energy before throwing the Psychic. I personally would like to see the Psychic come out sooner, because if you get debuffed, the counters are going to add up a little faster, right? But, you know, debuff chance is kind of low, yeah, as you can see. So it didn't actually make a difference for that specific situation. But this is where it gets interesting, because now you can just go straight Ice Punch, whereas I don't think... I wonder if you have to go Power Punch there first if you're Game Bird. I don't know. Because now this... So the reason I say that is because if you go Power Punch first, the Psychic afterwards is going to do more damage, right? And Yodada already spent their shield? Did they? Yeah, they did, yeah. So that Psychic would have done a little more damage. But I guess it doesn't matter because Yodada was going to win Charge of Priority either way. But I guess the possibility is Game Bird could have shielded there. I think Game Bird does need to save the shields for the Abomasnow. And here comes the Sky Attack here. Got to get rid of this as soon as possible, right? You don't want to take too much Powder Snow damage, and Weather Balls come out pretty quick. All right, there's going to be a race to see who finishes off here first. And oh my gosh, all right, just barely getting there. Yodada is going to get to this Ice Punch to stay live in this grand finals first set here too. Again, it's a best of 3, and now the score is tied 1-1 here. And yeah, we have a decisive game 3 on our hands here. If Yodada wins it, Yodada wins the entire qualifier. If Game Bird wins it, then we get a bracket reset in the grand finals. So it's going to be interesting. All right, Noctowl mirror matchup here. Unclear who's going to win charge and priority. I don't know if we've seen who won charge and priority earlier. I don't think so. But yeah, it's going to throw Sky Attack. And again, you see the safe swap Nidoqueen. I mean, this worked pretty well for Game Bird in the first game that they won. But yeah, is going to just come in and tank the Sky Attack yet again. Maybe expecting there's a Galarian Stunfisk in the back. And you see Yodada actually staying in here too and throwing another Sky Attack, but not before the Poison Jab is going to come through first. It's interesting. I think Gamer was expecting a potential catch or swap out, so didn't want to throw this Poison Fang right away. Is going to charge on priority, but is still going to spend the shield there. That's interesting. And now switching into the Medicham. But the thing is, switch timers are so misaligned at this point. I like this play from Gamebird. Get the guaranteed damage, going for the Earth Power here. Let's see if Yodada is willing to shield this or not. It could be a Poison Fang. No, makes a huge call and shields the Earth Power. That's massive. I'm very aware of the energy counts here, I think, in that matchup, which is huge. Because, of course, you don't want to shield the Poison Fang, right? So now you're actually in a pretty decent spot because you have a ton of energy on this Medicham, and Gamebird is behind on energy for sure, making this matchup definitely in favor. The mirror matchup definitely in favor of Yodada here. Is going to go for a Psychic here, and even though Yodada's Medicham was chunked a little bit from the Nidoqueen, they know that they can hang on here. I don't think a Power Punch is enough, even if the energy was met there, and it's going to throw this Psychic just to try to get this Medicham off the field of play, and that is going to be what happens here. Oh no, barely hangs on, actually still has like maybe 1 or 2 HP, and tries to get to Ice Punch. Does not get to it this time. It happened last game, but a little short this time around. Oh, it's gonna be interesting. 2 Sky Attacks loaded from Gamebird's side, so you're gonna get hit by at least one of these Sky Attacks. It is super effective. Tries to go for a potential catch there, but does not make the catch, allowing Gamebird to get still a little bit more energy, but now is 1 Wing Attack away instead of having the Sky Attack ready. But again, I don't think the Bombshell gets to a Weather Ball in time. No, definitely not. So here comes the Sky Attack. Sky Attack is going to connect here. Alright, so it's super effective, but Noctowl is pretty bulky, so it's not going to hit nearly as hard as some other Sky Attacks. Oh my gosh. Alright, barely gets to... Oh, goes to the Powder Snow down. Yeah, there's still shields, so you just have to go for fast moves. And wait. Oh my gosh. Alright, they tie. Alright, so we have a game 4 here. It's still tied up a 1-1. Game 4 still could be decisive. Still could bracket could still reset, or Yodada could take it all. We're just going to scrap the entire last battle because the Simul KO there. Wow. All right, these are some pretty hype battles here. And we have the Water Gun Lantern into the Galarian Stunfisk. I like this play from Yodada. Bring out the Lantern. It's good against the Nidoqueen. It's good against the Galarian Stunfisk, as it's great against the Noctowl, and it's pretty neutral against the Medicham. You have to worry about the Trevenant and the Posing Lantern, but you haven't seen either of those from Gamebird all day here, at least in this set. So I like that play. And as you can see, yeah, this Lantern is a huge core breaker. I mean, it beats... Yeah, you have 2 ground types on Gamebird's side. Oh, and this is the tough part, right? Because Ice Punch is a little bit more damage than Power Punch. But yeah, you just don't want to resist Psychic. So this matchup is a little rougher for Medicham. I mean, this was not a great matchup for Medicham in general. But the thing that's more concerning here is Gamebird doesn't really have a check for the Lantern after this Medicham is taken out. And even then, the Medicham was kind of neutral, more or less. This also puts the Medicham in farm down range. So that's not great, because you also have nothing that resists the Dark and Ghost damage from the Sableye. Yeah, this is looking very tough for Gamebird. I think a really solid team read from Yodada here. I mean, Lantern lead with 2 checks to Trevenant in the back, right? Pretty standard, but I like the team composition there. It's a good adjustment for this game number 4 we have here. And throwing right before getting the energy to that rock side, so really nice. Counting from Yodada there, is going to throw this foul play, and yeah, I think Gamer probably knows at this point. I mean, 2 shield Nidoqueen is pretty strong. I mean, you could definitely power through. I think you probably shield and just poison jab down, see what you can do here, right? But you've already seen the Lantern, so it already knows that this is going to be kind of a tough matchup. We haven't even seen the Noctowl yet, so there's that whole Noctowl in the back. Yodada again not falling for the bait here. I like the play. You're so far ahead too, so you don't really need to shield even if it was an Earth Power. But now Yodada is so far ahead here too. Is going to be able to get the final shield from Gamebird, but you need a whole Stone Edge to take out that Noctowl in the back. Let's not forget the Lantern is still pretty healthy and with a shield here too. Nidoqueen is strong, but even the old Nidoqueen pre-nerf to Poison Fang is probably not able to power through this matchup in this situation. So it looks like Yodada is going to take it here in this grand finals, not dropping a single set. We did have a tie there, But as you can see, this Noctowl is able to just wing attack down this Nidoqueen. So really well played from Yodada there to clinch out the entire qualifier and become the champion for the Asia qualifier Taiwan region. Gamebird, also congratulations for making the World Championships. As we can see, this is kind of a cleaned up graphic from DracoViz. These were the teams of the top 4 trainers. Like I said before, they had to play a Swiss tournament beforehand. They were able to change teams around, so you can see their prior teams and if they made any adjustments. It looks like only Gamebird chose to run the same exact team, whereas all the other 3 trainers in the top 4 were able to make adjustments for that top 16 run. Shout out again to Anacor for grabbing the footage and to Palmer myself for making a lot of these graphics and assets for this coverage of the Asia qualifier in Taiwan. And thank you to our top 3 competitors for sharing their footage so that I could shoutcast them. Those were some really fun battles to see. I also have some interesting footage from the Asia qualifier in India coming up. So stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss it because I'm sure there are going to be some incredible battles. And again, another region we don't usually get footage of. So it's going to be really cool to see what kind of strategies and gameplay they have there. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share. Subscribe for future content. Hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, especially the upcoming Asia qualifier in India. And I'll catch you all next time.